right, time for the men's version of our coaches show, and I'm joined by the Cougars head coach, Brian Baroni. Coach, final weekend at home, as we've talked about, as we were talking about with the women, and it certainly felt like two must-win games for your team. And I know that your guys came out kind of with the attitude that they weren't satisfied with the previous couple of games before this week.
Yeah, we wanted to come out. It started last Monday, really Saturday at Southern Indiana. We had a very truthful conversation in the locker room afterwards, and led by a lot of the guys. And we came out with the right approach, starting on Monday, gave them Sunday off. Starting on Monday, we were very efficient in our tempo, our urgency, and I thought we came out and set the tone early against Lindenwood, and then finished it off the weekend well against SIUE. So it was a good weekend for us, no doubt.
Lindenwood, a dominant game for you, for your team, as it was really in St. Charles the first time. 48% shooting, 10 three-pointers that night, 73% at the foul line. What else? 38 points in the paint. Lots of turnovers, 17 points of a turnovers. You out-rebounded Lindenwood. Really just, there were 11 players that scored in the game that had some sort of, that appeared on the stat sheet. More than that appeared on the stat sheet when you're looking at rebounds, assists. It was very much a total team effort.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think our guys really focused on our tempo. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up, our tempo was good. So then you get a little bit more fatigued. So then you trust your bench, and you trust one another, and they went in there and they did their job. Then the next guys stepped up, and I thought it was good. We were healthy. We had all 14 guys for the first time in probably 6 games at the Lindenwood with Arnie being back. A couple other guys were banged up a little bit. So I thought our guys collectively, we won that game really on that Saturday and really Monday, in my opinion. It really set the tone on how we were going to approach the rest of the weekend.
Does it feel like to you on the men's side that Lindenwood could become a rivalry game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're so close,
yep.
You're right across there. There's a nice atmosphere. We had great fan support over there. And we had great fan support here. So I think right now, I think we're 12-0 against Lindenwood historically.
That is correct.
So, we'd like to keep that going, no doubt about that. But whenever you have someone in that kind of proximity in this area that's well coached and they're going to try to make it something that conference opponent should make it.
Southeast Missouri was definitely a tougher game, a highly entertaining game. You look at the game in January there, it was just an absolute defensive kind of grinded out game. They score 52, you score 47. The offense was working much quicker in this game. And they got out to a big lead. They got out to a 15-point lead in the first half, but it never felt to me watching the game that there was a panic or a rushed feeling. It was sort of like chip away, chip away, chip away till you're tied at half.
Yeah, I thought we came out. We struggled a little bit with some of our. We were just pressing. We wanted to get out. It was, senior graduation day. It's a different kind of setup going into that game, different kind of vibe. They came out very aggressive, made some shots early. We had some defensive breakdowns early, got a little frustrated. It carried over to the offensive end. Next thing you know, you're down 15. But as a coach, I was sitting there on the sideline. You call a timeout. There wasn't a whole lot of changes that you're going to do, 10 minutes into the game. You just had to kind of trust, all right, we have to do what we planned on doing initially. We had not done that yet. Guys weren't panicked. They were they were frustrated with some of the actions that we had, but they were they had faith that what we were going to do was going to pay off. We mixed and matched some defense a little bit, and then we took off, and I think at halftime it ended up being tied 39.
Like most will tell you, and this was not the product of a big long run in that first half. I think there were a couple of 7-point runs, but in each instance it started with a stop. I mean, it was just exactly as we talk about all the time. It certainly started with getting a couple of stops.
That was our energy. Like sometimes when you force it offensively and you get back and that force offensively carries over defensively. You're a little slow-footed. You're not guarding the gaps the way you need to. And then we kind of changed some things. We went to a zone, a little bit of we were mixing and matching some zones, a couple ball screen coverages a little bit differently. And then once we got our hands, we got a few deflections. We call them dominoes, a deflection that leads to a steal that leads to a basket. So we had several dominoes in that first half that really then we started figuring out, all right, here's how we're going to get back in this game. And fortunately, we kind of were clicking. You go in at halftime like, all right, we did not play that well, and it's 0-0 again.
Senior day also on Saturday, and you had 6 guys that you celebrated before the game: Dorian Staples, Terrence Thompson, Desmond Polk, Rayshon Taylor, Shamar, and Lamar Wright. Guys that have been cornerstones to this program since you've been there, whether it's been 2 years or 3 years or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really honest.
No doubt. I mean, we talked about it again. It was unique because we have Senior Day on February 17th. February 17th, because we're not having the opportunity to play in front of our fans for the next several weeks because of the scheduling with this league. So unfortunately, the fans aren't going to be able to see us the next few weeks. But we talked about it with our guys. Hey, there's going to be some emotions. The Twins especially, they've been here 5 years. It's the last time they're playing on the court. But I was like, hey, but we're really going to be here for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we can't get too emotional about it. But we went out there. I thought we pressed a little bit early, but it was a recognition of those guys' accomplishments. Whether it's Rayshon and Dez, Terrence and Dorian, graduating. We've had the highest GPA in our school history from a basketball standpoint since we've taken over this program. They're graduating on time. The Twins are working on their master's degree right now. So we want to recognize that accomplishment. It's unique. We had a lot of guys as well because we retained a lot of guys. So when you have a retention through COVID and all the new rules and all that kind of stuff, you have 6 guys that have 4 guys that have an opportunity to continue to play. But let's recognize their graduation. It's a heck of an accomplishment. And then you leave the Twins leave here with all that they've accomplished. The most games played in school history. I think Shamar's leading scorer. It was emotional for them. So it was a heck of a way to win.
No doubt about it. And the crowd was fantastic. Yeah. The atmosphere was top notch.
No, I mean, we walked out there, and I was talking to the Twins right afterwards, and we had talked about, our goal. I think Al McGuire said, I played at Marquette. He was a legendary coach there, and he said, when you walk out and you look up into the corner of the arena, and if the seats are filled, you've done your job. And we're getting there. I talked about it with the Twins. I said this was not what it once was.
Right.
Not even close. Not even close. So you have the most wins in home wins in school history. That's a credit to this community. It's a credit to our support. It's a credit to our administration, and it's credit mostly to our guys that have went in there and they've produced at 12-2 this year at home. And I was really proud of them to leave the mark. The Twins especially, they left it better than when they got here.
That's a good way to say it, to sum it up too. We'll have you back in our 3rd segment, and coming up in segment number 2, we're going to visit with the aforementioned Arnie Sikanis. That's coming up after this. It's our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show. We're coming right back. It is segment number 2 here from Global Brew, and I am glad to be joined for segment number 2, the sophomore from Tinley Park, Arnie Sikanis. Arnie, you two have a good story about coming here to SIUE, at least as I have heard it, so I want to hear it from you. But at least what I was told as it was relayed to me, you came down on a visit, you got to play in an open gym, and as I understand it, some of the other guys immediately got on the phone and started calling coach and said, you got to come see this guy. Is that kind of how it came down?
Yeah, that's how it happened. And then I came down here 2 days later because I had orientation for school here. And then Coach Brewing was like, I want to get you in a workout with some other guys. So I did that, did good at that, and then he just took me.
That's pretty cool to come down here. And you were already coming to school here, right?
Yeah. I was thinking of coming here to school and starting my senior year. So after my senior year of basketball, I didn't have that many looks. I had D3s, JUCOs, and I felt like I could go further than that. So decided to try and walk on here, and I did.
Listen, the rest of the league, after watching film on you, and especially after this weekend, they're kicking themselves. I assure you of that. Do you take that with you into a game that like, hey, nobody was really looking at me, nobody was paying attention, I'm gonna prove myself? Like, is that kind of something that enters the mind?
Yeah, like every day I go out there, work hard, grateful to be here, have the chance to play at the next level, and yeah, I'm just grateful.
Coach always talks about the family atmosphere, putting family into basketball, and I've talked to lots of players about this. Have you felt that since you've been here?
Yeah, I feel like we have our gatherings. I feel like road trips, especially, we get closer and closer together. Like each day, practices, we have fun, we get our work done, but we do as a family. And family is like an important aspect of getting better together and just being a better team.
One of the other things that Coach has told me a lot is when he's presenting information, or when the assistants are presenting information, a scout, or you're looking at film, he always says, we're showing them, or we're giving them what they're asking for, what they're looking for. Is there an element of yourself, your teammates, kind of asking like, hey, this is the kind of things we want to see in film, these are the things we want to know about the opponent?
Like, when doing film, going out over this stuff, we just need to be focused, have concentration, lock in, and like these. It just takes one day where you just learn everything, and learn all their plays. But it's important to do like personnel and all that, because if we can't just go in there not knowing what to do. Literally knowing like 2 or 3 of the plays can save us down the stretch.
The Morehead State game at home comes to mind specifically. We were talking on the broadcast. It seemed like every out-of-bounds play that Morehead State ran, every play out of a timeout, it felt like you knew their plays. For whatever reason, that sticks in my mind as one of those games. Do you have games like that where it feels like maybe that scout clicks a little better than other games?
Yeah, the day before that game, we played someone before. I don't remember who.
Southern Indiana.
And that day was just a preparation day. We knew that they had a lot of plays. We knew we couldn't get through all of them, but we just felt like if we focused and concentrated on the plays and just played good defense, we would be good the next day.
So you have also had to deal with an injury this year. It was I don't remember. It was whatever game came before Lindenwood, and then again during the Lindenwood game in St. Charles. Took a knock on the knee, and I know for a while it was not sure how serious it was going to be. Obviously, you've come back. That took a lot of work because you also came back really quickly. Just give me an idea, what was that work like, trying to work your way back into playing shape?
First, it was hard hearing the news because it took a while. Because they said it was something else, but then it was something else, and after they finally figured it out. So I was doing all this different type of rehab, getting all this treatment, and I didn't know if it was going to help. And then when we finally figured it out, I could finally get better and better, doing the right treatments. But those treatments are hard on me because I'd get there 8 in the morning, leave there 8 p.m., and every day it was just like that.
And I was in a couple of practices, and all you were doing was sprinting. That's all I saw anyway, was a lot of sprinting just to try to get yourself back into shape. So you come back in time for the Lindenwood game. Had to be nice to be back, to be able to someone to say to you, hey, you're good to go. You've at least got, whatever it was, 6, 7, 8 minutes in you tonight. That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it felt good to come back, because sitting there on the sideline during practices, you just want to play, and it takes a hard toll on you because it's like you love the sport, you always want to be out there, and you can take it for granted when you're not playing it.
Well, it showed. You've averaged 8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 blocks in your last games against Lindenwood and against Southeast Missouri. 9 points, 7 rebounds on Saturday. Just an outstanding performance. Was it something? Did you feel like that coming in? What was different about Saturday?
I felt like Thursday and Saturday I had this mindset because I had a lot of time to think, reflect on what I could do better at when I was injured. And I felt like just being more aggressive, just being there, just playing defense, leading to offense. I just feel I just need to be more aggressive.
Well, anybody who watched those last two games, I would probably say agree with you that worked out well for you, and hope that is what you're going to do the next 4 games, by the way. Tell me about that. 4 games on the road. It's not. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care, what division you're at. Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, high school. Winning on the road is a tough thing to do, and you've got 4 in front of you. It will be tough, but I know that it's also going to be something, again, kind of like I mentioned before, where I think that this team has an idea that they want to show what the real SIUE is, right?
Yeah, I feel like we just need to get closer. Like we've had our struggles this whole season on the road. I feel like these next 4 games we could really do some damage, and just going in there, being close, just locking into the scout, doing everything the right way. I feel like we could win these next 4 games.
And how nice or how different will it be going to Evansville, going to the OVC tournament for the second time, kind of knowing what to expect, knowing what's in front of you?
Well, last year, we got knocked out in the second round, now coming back for revenge, trying to win the whole OVC. Like the whole team knows that we're probably the best team in the league, and that we should win it all and go to the tournament and do some damage in there.
I love it. Arnie, thank you so much for taking some time tonight. It's been a pleasure, and we've got at least 4 more games this year to do it.
Yep.
Thanks, Arnie. That's Arnie Sakanis with us here. We'll have one more segment coming up with Coach Baroni right after this.
Immerse yourself in academic excellence. Take comfort in welcome surroundings. Revel in exhilarating events. Discover invaluable educational experiences at a value rivaled by few. Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. The right place, the right people, so you can own tomorrow. Take your first steps to a promising future at SIUE.
This is it, our final segment after, I think, 6 shows total this year here at Global Brew. Thanks again to Global Brew. Thanks to Urban Chestnut Brewing Company. They have been great partners to SIUE, to SIUE basketball, and providing a home for us all season long. Thanks to everybody in the room, because it has been fantastic to have you all here on Monday nights to hear from us and let us talk to you for a little while. Brian Baroni is back with me here for our last segment here.
Oh, there we go. The slow clap.
That's all right. So you come into the final 4 games, final 2 weeks of the season, 8-6, tied for 6th. It is an extremely tight race, made tighter this weekend. Morehead State loses twice. So much up in the air. When you are in the back of the room and you hear Arnie Sakanis say things like, "We know we're the best team. We know what we need to do to go to Evansville to win that and make some noise in the tournament." I mean, I imagine that's what you expect and what you want to hear out of your guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to them before the SEMO game, and I just talked about how I trust them. How we're just going to go out there, and it's really in their hands. And I'm fortunate to be a coach that has a group of guys that I believe in and I trust. And you had 6 games without Arnie. And that just doesn't change. It's not just the points and the rebounds and the blocks. It's your rotation. It's your day-to-day. He's a do-right guy on a daily basis. Your practice, everything is greatly affected in those 6 games. And we would have liked to get a couple more of them. But now we're 8-6. We're navigating right in the middle of the pack. We have an opportunity to make a run at the end of the season and do something that no one else is doing it on the road. And to do something that no one else is doing is to do something that's never been done before. So let's attack it. 3
of these games that you'll play over the next 4, you've seen the team already this year. 2 of them you've already beaten this year. Western Illinois, I would imagine, has to feel like a game that got away here at home early in the OVC season. But it starts with Tennessee Tech, and it's going to be sort of the opposite, right? Tennessee Tech is going to be, hey, we need to prove something because we didn't do it when we were on their home floor. And it's a tough place to play. I've always found Tennessee Tech a tough place to play.
Yeah, I think the success rate of SIU, I think we won a few years ago, and there hasn't been a whole lot of a lot of success there. But it's a tough place. It's a long trip. You're going down there. It's a 5-6 hour trip. We'll be heading down there on Wednesday. They are playing for an opportunity. You know, they have, I think, 4 games left. They're sitting around 4 wins right now. So they're going to try to make a run.
Right.
To, you know, it's fun at the end of conference when all these games matter. And that's where you really have to be on point. You really have to go out there and be sharp and stick together in all of those areas. And I know that we're going to be facing a buzzsaw this next few weeks.
And you have to manage that, right? So you have to manage the fact that this team, as you said, there's a ton on the line for them because they're playing for their season, quite literally, every game that they have left.
Yeah, I would anticipate that we're going to be at everyone's senior night as well.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we have senior night 3 weeks before the season ends, and everyone else, we're fortunate to do we're like the 3-ring circus, bringing around with the graduation pictures to everybody. Just another opportunity to do something that no one else is doing. And I mean, they're going to be coming out. They're going to say that they're going to think they didn't see a best version. We didn't see a best version of themselves, we would like to think that we're going to go show a better version of us as well. So you're going to get everyone's best shot, and you have to be prepared. And then whatever happens that game, you got to be ready to prepare and move on to the next one because it's going to come at you fast.
And Tennessee State is interesting because it is just the one time that you'll see them. Mm-hmm. This has huge implications. Right now, tied. They're also 8-6. But when it comes down to tiebreakers, this game's going to be what is decided on. Yeah,
I looked at the rules one day, and I was just like, let's just go win games and we'll figure it out.
Right.
But like the head-to-head tiebreakers on a one-game situation, I do know if we beat them and you only play them once, I think we get the tiebreaker. I think. Who knows? I'm sure there's a bylaw in something with this. I'm sure. But then that'll be a big game for us to go down there. They're a talented team. They're very talented. It'll be a long trip for us, and then we have a quick turnaround again on Tuesday for to end the year.
And. Penny's been there. Has he been there same length of time as you?
1 year before.
1 year before you.
Yeah,
okay,
1 year before me.
It's you've both been building programs. Is kind of my point. You're in similar spots. I think picked 2 and 3 at the start of the year, but again tied at 8-6. And again, it's another tough place to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the band is super loud. I mean, it's great, but it's super loud.
Yeah, they'll have the band there. They'll have a speaker right by your bench. You'll have a practice time the night before and shoot around where there might be a couple other sports in there during your shoot around time. You just got to take all the distractions and get ready to roll when you have the opportunity to tip it up.
Eastern and Western to finish the season on the road that last week. You got Eastern Illinois here. Again, you did Western, a super close game. That was another one of those kind of grinded out battles, and Western Illinois came out on top. As it turned out, they've proven to be a really good road team. So you go there, again, I have to feel like it feels like something to prove, right, at Western Illinois, new team in the league?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of reasons to go out there and have some success. Whatever you find for your motivation on that daily basis. I'd like to think that, we've inspired ourselves enough to go out there and make a run for this thing at the end of the league. We felt that we didn't perform the way we needed to against Western. I think Eastern is a very well-coached team.
Sure.
That's a quick turnaround. We have the opportunity to have 4 games on the road with our Tuesday game at the end of the season as well, when other teams had Tuesday games earlier prior to a bye week. We've had every obstacle thrown at us. So yeah, we have a lot of things that we'd like to prove and kind of look people in the face and say, you gave us a pretty difficult situation. We stepped up. We're going to take it like we always have here. We have the best fans in the league. That's why our success at home has helped us pull through that. We needed to hold home court. Would have liked to get a couple more, but we don't do it without the community and the fans. And now we got to go make a run on a really difficult schedule at the end of the season.
And you've got obviously a veteran team, a really tough team too, and a team that has answered the bell just about every time you've asked them to.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at times like this, you look at your path. You talk about. I was talking about with the 16 guys that graduated the other day, whether it was me going into link year prep and watching Lamar work out. Shamar was hurt. They were trying to decide if they were going to get out of an opportunity that Shamar was going somewhere because Lamar wasn't signed. Then they decided to go somewhere together. Dorian Staples, you see him at an event. We were laughing about his visit. He had a couple meals on his visit. He was aggressive in his meal planning for his visit. Desmond Polk, the whole world shut down. The NCAA tournament shut down the day I was there seeing him. A few years later, I was literally there, and everything got canceled, and he was kind of the last person I saw before you couldn't go off recruiting anymore. And then obviously Rayshawn Taylor, with what he's done for the community of Collinsville, community of Edwardsville, and everyone here, the belief that he saw when I was fortunate enough to be given an opportunity on an interim basis, and he believed in the vision in himself, and he had such a strong foundation. So you think of all those things going into these last 4 games. You think of all that because it's not just the path of this, this year's team and the struggles of this year. It's everything that led up to this team to be together in these last 4 games. And when you put that all in perspective, yeah, it gets tough to think about it that way, but it's also pretty awesome. I get to go on the bus with a group of guys that I trust, believe in. I get to sit there and watch them, or coach them, I guess I should say, on the sideline, and I'm pretty darn lucky for it.
Well, Coach, hopefully everybody in the room will come right back here because it's a great place to watch the games when the team is on the road. Thank you for taking the time all season long. Thank you for bringing your players out. It's been a really great pleasure to get the Coaches Show going here at Global Brewing. We appreciate it.
No, this is great. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, and we'll be back here after a couple of watch parties, no doubt about that.
Well, thanks everyone again for coming out tonight. Thanks for coming out all season. Thanks to Global Brew. Thanks to Urban Chestnut Brewing Company and all of your support for our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show.